One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides onto wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a beautiful Friday morning so far. Great to see everyone in the chat, by the way. We have a big news day, as you guys know. Yesterday, there was the announcement that Israel and Lebanon have now become into a ceasefire, which is a 10-day ceasefire. So it's limited, of course. We have a lot of the details on that. So the way that I titled this is Hormuz Talks and Intensify, as well as Trump Speaks and Pope Africa Tour. There's been a little bit of chaos between the president and the Pope. They've exchanged some words online. I've defended themselves on both sides. And basically, I think somebody in the media, or it may have been Pope Leo himself, that said, you know, basically, let's go ahead and kind of meet, like, what do you think about us sitting down at the table together? And Trump is like, there's no need for us to do that. We're not going to get anywhere with that. And so, anyways, let's go ahead and give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're looking at this morning. First thing we're going to be talking about is Trump announces that ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, and we'll get into that here in a minute. We also have ICE officer is charged in Minnesota. It says Hennepin County, Minnesota. Prosecutors are charging an ICE officer with 2 counts of assault for allegedly pulling a gun on 2 people during a traffic dispute along Highway 62 in February. Definitely wild times, man. And then we have another thing, Trump on Iran, as well as missing nuclear scientists and Lebanon. Trump is going to be speaking on that. And then we have U.S. blockade on Iranian ports holds as Israel and Lebanon strikes the ceasefire deal there, the 10-day ceasefire. Then we also have river flooding prompts evacuations in Michigan. We're bringing it back to the national side of because there has been quite some weather up there. It says dangerous flash flooding is unfolding across parts of Michigan and Wisconsin after days of heavy rain from severe storms and rapid snow melt have pushed rivers into major flood stages and forced evacuations. Governors of both states have declared states of emergency with more rain still ahead this week. And yes, I even think that we're going to be getting a fuck ton of rain over the weekend ourselves. I mean, it's totally irrelevant, just a little side note. We have Trump says Israel-Lebanon leaders could meet at the White House. This coming out 3 hours ago, by the way. It says President Donald Trump on Thursday told reporters that leaders of Israel and Lebanon could meet at the White House after announcing a 10-day ceasefire between the two countries. So we have all of that developments, as well as humanitarian need in Lebanon amid ceasefire. Believe it or not, guys, there's been over 1 million people. I think it's 1.2 million people that were displaced in Lebanon. You got to remember, these are not the insurgents. These are not the militant group or Hezbollah or any of that, or even the government. These are the citizens, right? So we're going to be discussing that a little bit as well. We have Iran foreign minister has come out this morning and said Strait of Hormuz passage open for vessels. Yo, let's freaking go. It says Iran's foreign minister announced on Friday, quote, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire on the coordinated route as already announced by ports and maritime organizations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That is the quote right there. Then we also have just 35 minutes ago, Trump slams NATO after Strait of Hormuz reopens. And that's definitely not going to surprise anybody. It says President put on a Truth Social, quote, now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over. Okay, well, hold on. It's not necessarily over. It's over for maybe, 8 more days? And then they're probably going to shut it down again. But anyways, let's just go ahead and read this. It says, now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. I told them to stay away unless they just want to load up their ships with oil. They are useless when needed. A paper tiger. Wow. That's some words there. So anyways, real quick, let's go ahead and get our call to actions and all that stuff. But real quick, we do have to get into the donations that you guys already started this morning. Papa Penguin, before we had even started, by the way, sent in 5 gifted memberships, man. I'm very appreciative of that, by the way. Definitely goes a long way, my man. I very much appreciate it. We got Sterling Wheel coming in with the re-up of his membership for 7 months, saying support the IWF. Prepare to get memberships. Well, he did exactly that, dropping a 20 bomb. Yo, my man, making it rain big time this morning. That is a whale. I very much appreciate the humongous donation, by the way. Definitely is way appreciated. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. And it's free to do so, by the way. You know what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, on Saturday morning, we have members only. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Anyways, speaking of memberships, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail. Make sure you guys go follow me over there and hit me up one-on-one. It's the best way to do it. As well as we have a Discord server to continue the conversations after the show's been finished. Make sure you guys go in the video description down below of any live video, and we have that invite link for you guys. And then last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, going to be shouted out and presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen, and at any time you guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds, and I'll read out loud your message just like a super chat. So we've got our email up, ready to rock and roll. We're scanning always. All right, great to see everyone in the chat, man. You guys are fucking amazing. I always appreciate it. We got Jimmy Mack as well as Steve Posey. We got Easy Frank in the building as well as Fidel. Great to see you guys. We got Mr. Gary as well as Steve Easy. Appreciate you all being here. We got Rolling, which is Dean. Always appreciate you over there on the West Coast. We got Naomi in the building as well as Rabbit of Chaos is hanging out with us as well. And Mike looks hungover. Yes, I definitely look like it, don't I? I wear it really well. We got Wildcard in the building as well. Appreciate you this morning. And we got Miss Lotus. We got May. What up, May? Great to see you. Let's see. We got Sterling Whale saying, "What? Good morning, kids." Absolutely. We got Caval. Great to see you. Or Cavaland. I think much love, honor, respect to you over there on the Twitch side of things, actually. Appreciate you. We got Biker Babe as well in the building. Shout out to you. We got Steve Easy letting everyone know. Double tap that screen and show some love for Mike. I very much appreciate that. We're scrolling our way down. We got Prez as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. Always appreciate it. We got American Flag as well. We're rolling our way down. Yes, by the way, NATO does suck donkey dick, by the way. I'll go ahead and just bring it to that level. We got Rob in the building as well. Shout out to you. We got Virginia Chaos. Absolutely. We got Mr. Al Patterson gifting out 5 gifted memberships as well. Let's fucking go. You guys are amazing, man. Make sure there's a lot of gifted memberships that have just already come out this morning. Make sure if you guys are a receiver of one of these gifted memberships. Make sure you guys thank the people that are gifting them out, man. And as well as show up for members only tomorrow morning. That's what we do, man. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we have a great time. We don't discuss any of this crazy shit. We try to have actually a really good time and try to not discuss the world's madness during that time. All right, we got Robert as well. Shout out to you and Lappy. All right, great to see all of you guys. Thank you all for being here. Let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start off with Trump announces ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And as you guys know, this did happen yesterday, but we're going to go ahead and start from this point to get us up to date to current times right now.
We are following
and this is a very, very quick update.
Breaking news here on Live Now from Fox as President Trump has announced a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. He took to social media to share this breaking news, and I did want to share that with you here right now. You can see that social media post saying, quote, "I just had excellent conversations with the highly respected president."
Real quick, before she reads out that whole tweet or post, true social post, I should say, we got Joseph as well in the building. Shout out to you. We got Pablo saying he's got to get some coffee. Absolutely, bro. Get your coffee on, get your smoke on.
And to Joseph Aoun of Lebanon and Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel. These two leaders have agreed that in order to achieve peace between their countries, they will formally begin a 10-day ceasefire at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. On Tuesday, the two countries met for the first time in 34 years here in Washington, D.C. with our guest, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I have directed Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Rubio, together with the chairman of Joint Chiefs.
Now, that is way legendary, by the way, Steve Posey. I just got to point that out. I've never received a gifted membership to the IWF, as I have my memberships on autopay. My man, yes, sir. You guys that actually are the membership that you guys signed up, not just gifting. Of course, that's a huge aspect of what we do on here. But you guys that sign up and renew every month and stuff like that, that means the world to me. I mean, I'm very honored to have that. And so I very much appreciate it more than you think, for sure.
Staff Dan Raisin Kane to work with Israel and Lebanon to achieve a lasting peace. It has been my honor to solve 9 wars across the world, and this will be my 10th. So let's get it done. President Donald J. Trump.
Well, you don't really have that much pull to be like, oh yeah, like I've ended all these wars and blah blah blah. Like, yes, you have ended some crazy wars, but truth be told, you started a whole different one. You know, so.
I did want to share this live look here from Lebanon, and this is what we have been seeing. We have been reporting for weeks now the strikes between Hezbollah, which is located in Lebanon, and Israel, and now President Trump announcing a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon.
So it's 10 days, as you guys know. This came out yesterday. The remaining of the ceasefire, that the nine more days that we've got, the strait has been opened, by the way. The foreign minister of Iran has already announced that this morning. And but just wanted to give you guys
the
a
lower
heads
right-hand side of your screen, you can see that countdown clock when that ceasefire is set to begin. We're continuing to gather reaction, and any new developments, we will bring them to you right here on Live Now.
Yes, and as well as here on Insane Wheels. That's what we do here. We got Virginia Chaos letting everybody know. Let's get the likes up. Yes, everybody, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you guys are on the horizontal. Thank you guys for your laborious work on that, by the way. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on into our next story here regarding this ICE officer is charged in Minnesota. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. We're not going to listen to this whole thing, by the way. It's a long little conference. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. We're going to get the basic monologue, see what's happening here, and then move on. All right, get to it.
Thank you all for being here today.
Why is it
I'm
so low?
Attorney Mary Moriarty.
I have to crank it.
Our office has charged Gregory Donnell Morgan, an Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agent, with 2 counts of second-degree assault. There is now a warrant for Mr. Morgan's arrest, which allows law enforcement to arrest him anywhere in the country. Before I address the details of this case, I want to take a moment to talk about the timeline and why a charging decision was reached earlier in this case than in the shooting of Julio Sosa Solis and the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. I know the community.
Oh, it's actually that officer regarding Renee Good and Petty or whatever his name is. I forget his name.
Transparent on why these situations are developing at different speeds. This case followed the typical investigation and submission process for cases coming to our office. The Minnesota State Patrol received a 911 call from the victims, who had a gun pointed
What's up, Time to Stand?
at
Good
them by
morning.
the driver of a vehicle who pulled up next to them illegally on the shoulder. The State Patrol was able to
Drive safe, Sterling.
identify Mr. Morgan and conduct an interview with him at the Whipple building. After finalizing the investigative case file, the state
I have to look on the actual YouTube side in order for me to even see that. Let me see what it's at right now. Well, since I haven't refreshed it, shows 1. Now it's at 19 on the horizontal. And let's see what it is on the vertical. One sec, I'm refreshing. And there is only 6 on the vertical, man. You guys got to bring up the vertical likes, man. For real. I'll shut this whole shit down if you guys don't bring it up.
Virtually none of the obstacles around evidence collection that exist for the January shootings exist in this case. On February 5th, Mr. Morgan was driving illegally on the shoulder of eastbound.
Yes, as you guys know, I fucking hate bad audio. We only hear it from the left side. I had to crank up my board as loud as possible. It doesn't go any louder. If I were to hit any sound bite right now, it would blow your ears off. So I'm not going to touch any sound bites while we've got this shit cranked. We got to listen to this, whoever this lesbian broad is up there in Minnesota.
Highway 62, or the crosstown, just past the Portland.
Ellen DeGeneres' fucking mother or something.
Bypass slower traffic.
That's actually how Ellen looks now.
The victim who was driving briefly moved their vehicle into the shoulder to slow him down. Mr. Morgan.
Real quick, Joseph, I've been asked this, ironically, twice already this morning before I even started the show. The answer is yes. When it comes down to merchandise, I truly don't want to sell you guys anything that is cheap. You know, a lot of these where like people get their merchandise and stuff like that, it's usually a drop shipping company where you just you upload your logo and then they make it for you and then they ship it out for you and all that shit. No, that's all garbage. I don't want that. I want to sell, if I'm going to sell merchandise, it's going to be top level shit. You know, like real quality. So that means I have to find someone fairly local, right? A, and B, I want the merchandise in my hand. I don't want it elsewhere. I'll ship it out once a week or whatever to you guys when I go to the post office or whatever, and I'll ship everything out myself. I definitely, if you want something done right, you do it yourself kind of thing. And so I definitely don't want to outsource. But that's the whole reason. I got to find someone. But yes, we're going to be doing it sometime soon.
Was driving a rented SUV with no markings or other features to indicate that it was an ICE vehicle. After the victim's vehicle moved back into the legal lane, Mr. Morgan sped up to pull alongside the victim's vehicle. Mr. Morgan then visibly slowed his vehicle to match the pace of the victim's vehicle, opened his window, and pointed his duty weapon directly at both victims in the other vehicle while continuing to drive.
Oh my God, this lady is such a... It's hard to listen to these fucking people. We got Tiffany, by the way. Good morning to you. Great to see you. Happy Friday, everybody.
Both the driver and the passenger in the victim's vehicle felt threatened by Mr. Morgan's actions. The driver called 911 while the passenger began to video the SUV when it pulled into the lane in front of them. On February 6th, State Patrol investigators conducted a voluntary interview with Mr. Morgan and his partner, who had been in the back seat of the rented SUV.
Yo, Steve Easy, you definitely know I'm the type of person to actually make that kind of shit happening. He says, can you sell many prosthetic leg lamps, cuh? Yeah, man, we're going to make a bedside lamp. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
SUV at the time of the incident. During the interview, Mr. Morgan admitted that he was driving the rented SUV, and he and his partner were headed to the Whipple building to end their shift. Additionally, he admitted that he drew his firearm after the victim's vehicle had already rejoined the normal flow of traffic, corroborating details from interviews with the victim. The State Patrol retrieved video of the incident from highway cameras, which is also consistent with the details of the interviews. We have charged Mr. Morgan.
I'm just letting her get off the basic monologue real quick. And I know I've been talking over it because she's boring as shit anyway. She's just coping. I don't know. I just can't stand these people.
With 2 counts of second-degree assault. 1 count for each victim for threatening the victims with
I don't know,
a
Papa.
weapon. Second-degree assault with a gun has a presumptive sentence of 36 months in prison. Mr. Morgan's conduct was extremely dangerous. Driving while pointing a weapon out of your moving vehicle at the victims who were in another moving vehicle could have led to yet another disastrous incident in a community that has already suffered too many.
Jesus Christ. Can you just get it over with, please?
A few moments later.
I forgot to tell you, I forgot that I wasn't supposed to touch any of the fucking sound bites because I got the shit cranked. But luckily, that's more of a quiet one, so no air horns or any of that shit for you guys.
I want to thank the Minnesota State Patrol for their investigative work on this case and for submitting it to our office for charging consideration. Today's charges reflect an important milestone
What's up, Boomerang?
to seek accountability for the harms inflicted on our community during Operation Metro Surge. Our community is still navigating the effects of the federal occupation. I drew daily inspiration from the courage of Minnesotans and the care that they showed for each other during Metro Surge. Our work,
Man, these guys are just gay.
Why are you gay?
continues on all fronts, from the killings of Ms. Good and Mr. Preddy, to the shooting of Mr. Sosa Solis, to the incidents being investigated by our Transparency
Fragile.
and Accountability Project, or TAP. We will not rest until we get the answers we seek about federal agent conduct across Hennepin County, and accountability is delivered wherever appropriate. Thank you. Questions?
No. Thank God you're over. Thank you. I had to do it. Just had to let you get your rocks off there on your monologue so we could fucking move on. All right. So we've got Trump on Iran. This is yesterday, by the way. Just, everything we've shown so far has been from yesterday. We're leading up into current times. We're actually already near it for current times. But yesterday, Trump on Iran, missing nuclear scientists, and Lebanon. So let's go ahead and bring that up. As well as we got to get the money part over, even though we have already had amazing support this stream already. But listen, we got to get the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now that's actual factuals.
Denied.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this next story here. All right, 3, 2, 1. And I hate when these outside fucking Air Force One, I hate that shit.
Prime Minister Meloni, can you do something?
He may be outside with the helicopter, so I don't know. Yeah, he's out front of the White House. Or out in the back, whatever it is.
Don't criticize people who, quote, manipulate religion for political or military gain. Do you think that he was talking about you, sir?
It's very important that the Pope understands. Very, very important. It would be nice not to say it. Iran killed 42,000 people that were totally unarmed.
And he's talking about the protests right there. And real quick, we got Mr. Jack Talcott in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning for yourself. I definitely know that we are over here. Happy Friday to everybody. Naomi, by the way, sending 100 for 2 jewels, as well as sending another high 5 for 100 jewels. Thank you very much for that, Naomi. Definitely goes a long way. And then it shows Steve Easy comboed 2 times fucking happy poop. What the fuck kind of gifts are you able to give over there, motherfuckers?
They were protesters. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they did, every country, including Italy, where he's stationed, every single country in the world would be in trouble. So we're doing very well with respect to that, having to do with the whole situation on Iran.
Yes, the helicopter's name is Marine One. I'm just sitting here smoking, so I just was like, yeah, that's the helicopter.
The blockade is amazing. It's holding up very strong, very powerfully. And I think we're making a lot of progress on that. But the Pope has to understand Iran, very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The world would be in great danger.
Damn their audio, man. That's their side.
Now, your difference is this Catholic Church war.
I don't think it's necessary.
Mr. President, you spoke with Prime Minister Modi just a couple of days ago. What was the conversation like? What is it that is on the table now?
I had a very good talk with him, and he's a friend of mine from India, and he's doing great. We had a very good conversation.
Considering extending the ceasefire with Iran?
With who?
What's up, Carney Vanguard? And he just asked the ceasefire with Iran in specific on that question. So here we go.
Considering extending the ceasefire with Iran?
With who?
With Iran.
We're doing very well, I can tell you. Maybe it'll happen before that. I'm not sure it needs to be extended. Just so you know, Iran wants to make a deal, and we're dealing very nicely with them. We've got to have no nuclear weapons. If we do, that's a big factor. And they're willing to do things today that they weren't willing to do 2 months ago.
Yo, Lappy, this is a W comment, by the way. It's 2026 and they're still using Cracker Jack microphones. That's a fucking fact, yo. I gotta give you a W. That's facts. These guys get unlimited funding by their own government. You know what I mean? They are the government. And yet we've just got, I mean, especially with the media, who is also owned by you know, a little bit of our government and also a lot of the state of Israel. So there's unlimited money, but yet we just can't get our fucking microphones in order.
Do you have any news about Ukraine? Do you have any news regarding peace in Ukraine?
Hezbollah?
I think they will. I think it's going to be, actually, it's very exciting because it's...
Which they've already announced right after this, essentially, yesterday. I think it was evening time. I seem to remember. Anyways, right around then. So anyways, this is before the ceasefire actually was announced. It has been announced, and it came into effect like yesterday evening.
48 years. We're going to be meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, as you know, and the president
at midnight.
of Lebanon. And I had a great talk with both of them today. They're going to be having a ceasefire, and that'll include Hezbollah. And I think it could be number 10 for me.
Mr. President, do you have any news regarding peace in Ukraine? Do you have any news regarding peace in Ukraine?
Ukraine is moving along. I wish they could get along, frankly. A lot of people are dying in Ukraine. We'll see what happens. There's things happening there. We're focused.
You be safe over there, Tiffany. Always appreciate you and Lee. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday and weekend as well.
There's so much right now in Iran, seeing if we can get that completed. And I think we're going to be able to. And I think if you look, the stock market is good. The oil prices are coming down. And it's looking very good that we're going to make a deal with Iran. And it's going to be a good deal. It's going to be a deal with no nuclear weapons.
What's up, Rhodey? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. And Naomi let us know that somebody sent us Mr. Fidel sending us a chat thing over there. So thank you for the 100, by the way. Very much appreciate the couple jewels there.
Round
thank you, Fidel.
Negotiations on the war in Iran. When will
They're all
that take
important.
place?
I mean, it's not a question of around. All of them are
When
important.
will the next in-person
Probably,
meeting take
maybe
place?
over the weekend.
Will you send the vice president? Mr. President, will you send the vice
Just so you
president?
understand, the blockade has been incredible. It's held. They're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business because of the blockade. And so the combination of having no Navy, having no Air Force, having no anti-aircraft equipment, they have nothing. Everything is gone.
What's up, Papa Penguin, my man?
Including
Welcome
their
back.
leaders. Now they have a new set of leaders, and we find them very reasonable.
And Mr. President, on the 20-year minimum to stop enriching uranium, would you?
Well,
would
we
that
haven't
be
agreed to
acceptable
any.
you?
We
Would
haven't
that be
agreed to any.
acceptable to you, sir, if that's the final sticking point?
What
Would
we
you be
have is
comfortable with
we have a statement, very powerful statement, that they will not have, beyond 20 years, that they will not have nuclear weapons. That's beyond. There's no 20-year limit.
Anyone interested? Can you please give us more information on it? They'll go against the weaponization.
I think that Todd Blanche is doing a very good job, from what I'm saying. All I can say thus far, I think Todd Blanche is doing a very good job.
If there's no deal, would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting. If there's no deal, fighting resume.
Okay. And then on gas prices, how much longer will Americans continue to see these high gas prices?
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon, with the danger that entails. So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days. I know, and that's what ABC says. But the fact.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Gas stations are quick to bring up when price of oil is going up. Those gas stations are very quick to bring that price up for everybody. But as soon as the price of oil starts coming down, the gas stations are not so willing to bring down the price as fast. You know what I mean? So anyways, let's go ahead and see if he's just going to take questions for the next 30 fucking minutes. We're going to go ahead and move on. This is what he's doing, and because this is from yesterday, and otherwise, if this was live right now, we'd watch it all the way through. But a lot of shit has happened, and he's even spoken since. So, anyways, or he's put out, posts since. I'm sure he's spoken as well, but nonetheless. We got U.S. blockade on Iranian ports holds as Israel and Lebanon strike the ceasefire agreement over there. So this is also from yesterday, just transparency. We're almost led up to this morning in current time, so we're working on it.
And the U.S. blockade continuing to hold, and that is a very positive sign. Hi, everyone. Mike Bache here. Welcome to Live Now from Fox. We are continuing to follow everything that is happening in the Middle East as really the tensions continue to grow, but also waiting to see how the negotiations are going to hold up going into the weekend as well. But we really want to focus on this blockade that is continuing by the U.S. military on the Iranian ports. So for more on this, I want to go out to Fox.
We got Mr. Justin Blum over there on the Facebook side of things. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
This is Lauren Simonetti.
Happy Friday.
Joining us here with the latest. And right now, the markets are liking what they are seeing with this blockade.
Yeah, Mike, the blockade has been very effective thus far. The U.S. Navy is sending warnings to ships. Hey, you are not supposed to be here. Turn around. We are saying that. They are listening. 14 ships have turned around, heeding our warnings. We have not had to board or interdict those ships.
Not yet. And so those 14 that we actually showed the map yesterday morning's show when the Pentagon held their press briefing. And so anyways, we showed all of that. We showed actual times where the ship's locations were at the exact time, and watching them try to leave Iranian ports and leave out of Iran, but then we're warned to turn around, and if you don't turn around, we're going to blow your shit up. And so all of them turned around, so anyways.
And now we are expanding that blockade to the dark fleet of vessels that go undetected. These are usually Iranian vessels, sometimes operated by the Chinese or the Russians. We are expanding our activity in the Strait to include those vessels. Let's play the sound by Dan Kane, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Watch this.
Our sailors maintain a constant watch, maneuvering the ship tactically and safely.
This is the exact thing I was just saying, where we actually showed the positions of the ships at what times.
Through always congested water space, and there is a lot out there. It is like driving a sports car through a supermarket parking lot on a payday weekend with thousands of kids in that parking lot as you attempt to maneuver through there to get to that ship that would attempt to run that blockade.
Yes, and what he just said there is very, very true. I'm going to show you guys marine traffic right now. And let's go ahead and make sure that we refresh and make sure it's up to date. It's verifying that it's me. Cool, whatever. And here we go. So this is what he's specifically talking about, is all these ships. See how crazy this shit is? All these ships. This is where the blockade really is. So it's all these ships, look at all this shit just out sitting there at anchor. And he's saying, as we're watching ships try to leave this area, as they're trying to get to them and as they're like making way to head at where those ships are headed, and they're hitting them on the radio, hey, you guys better turn the fuck around. If you don't, we're blowing your shit up. And but yes, this is unreal traffic right now. I mean, it's terrible. This shit is just a absolute fucking nightmare. All right, back to this. Let's go ahead and bring this back up. Sorry, guys. I just got to show the new people that are coming in.
And War Secretary Pete Hegseth said we are able to do this with using just 10% of our military might. So this U.S. blockade has been effective in cutting off Iran's revenue stream. Oil is how they make their money. So fewer ships are stopping at their ports to pick up cargo. That's how they make money. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing the number of vessels traverse the Strait overall coming down. If you look at the numbers since...
I don't know what that is, by the way, Charles.
The blockade, so this is for Tuesday and for Wednesday. 13 vessels have moved freely, Mike, crossing the ship. Most of them did not stop at an Iranian port. They can, for instance, if they're delivering food. But you can see, I don't know if you're looking at the graph, that's less.
Yes, we got to get the likes up, everybody. Make sure you listen. You don't have to like all this craziness. I understand. No, not many people enjoy this shit. But listen, you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So I very much appreciate it. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Thank you for your laborious work.
Than it was last week. All of this is not to say Iran is not going down without a fight. I am told by a source that Iran has shipped 9 million barrels of oil from their floating storage in the Gulf of Oman, where some ships are just waiting for orders. They have done that since Monday. I am also told that
Steve Posey, no. So if you saw that map, you could see there was nothing. Even though the strait is officially open, I'm sure right now the ship owners are not willing to risk going through that strait, being like the first ship going through or whatever. I think that they need some sort of clearance of like, hey, we got to make sure that we scan this entire strait right now, that especially at that bottleneck, to essentially, sweep for the mines and sweep for other, because they have diesel and electric, diesel/electric, like little tiny submarines that basically will go, are basically kind of remote controlled, and they swim them up into a fucking ship and boom, they blow up. So they can blow their whole hole open with those kind of things. So I'm sure that the ship owners are not willing to risk it quite yet until they've gotten complete clearance. Like they guarantee, maybe they're waiting on insurance to get back onto the cargo. But I just showed you the marine traffic and there was no movement there. So anyways, back to this.
3 vessels are loading at Karg Island in the past hour. That's 5
What's
million
up,
barrels
Stacks?
of oil.
Good morning.
So as I said, Iran not going down without a fight. We'll continue to follow what happens in the vital Strait of Hormuz. We are trying to get our allies and other Gulf nations and China and people who actually use the fuel, the energy, the oil, the chemicals that are moved through the Strait of Hormuz to help us in this action. But so far, Iran has listened to our warnings, and this is going pretty good. Oil's at, $95 a barrel right now. Gas came down. It's still high. We're at $4.09 nationally today, down 7 cents in the past week. So moving in the right direction, but I'm not cheering $4 gas by any.
Yeah, 7 cents downward is not enough for me to even be able to say anything about it.
No, not at all. But we're hoping that this is the final pressure point that the U.S. could give to Iran to really make them come to the table in a serious manner. Because, like you said there, yeah, we're seeing oil still at $95 a barrel, but S&P.
Very easy, Frank, to answer this honestly. Truth be told, is I do miss it because I was so fucking good at it. That's the way I look. I mean, I was really good at it, but then I actually later in my career started hating it. And it really had not too much to do with the job itself because I loved actually doing the job. I just hated who I worked for. I just, I'm somebody that is not going to agree with you to make it sound just to agree with you. I hate those type of people. I'm someone like, I'm trying to get the job done. This is factually what needs to happen to get that job done. I don't sit there and do anything more or anything less. I took it very, very seriously, obviously. I made a career out of it when I was 18 years old. You know what I mean? So I do miss it, but I also don't miss the schedule. At first, I was doing 5 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 5 days off. But then I worked for a different company. I got poached, and I got taken to a different company. And on that company, I was working 21 days on, 21 days off. And so that was my schedule, 21 days on. I mean, you're out at sea. You're stuck on that motherfucker. Or in harbor or loading or unloading at a ship, whatever. But you'd be on that bitch for 21 days straight. But then you'd have 21 days off to do anything you want, So there was good and bad, I guess, to everything.
500 NASDAQ. It is pumping right now. And
what's up, Josh Phillips? Good morning.
Yesterday with the S&P 500 hitting 7,000 for the first time.
Happy
there's
Friday.
a lot of hope and energy thinking that this could be the deal coming up soon.
And the NASDAQ is higher for 12 days in a row. That is the longest winning stretch that we've seen in about 17 years. It is earnings season. We're hearing from companies across the board saying, look, things are good. We're not cutting our forecast. So far, the consumer is...
Yes, by the way, Justin Blum, that's right. Absolutely. He's in the chat right now. And he was on the dock side, and me and him would work together nonstop. Not at the same company, but me and him worked I mean, shit, I was there all the time, huh, Justin? I was there all the fucking time. They put me on that contract because they knew that me and you had that shit on lock.
Strong. So you have investors and market participants focusing on fundamentals. With all of this geopolitical uncertainty in the world, I don't want to say it's not important, but it is only, 6 weeks now of conflict. Gas prices have been high for a few. It usually takes about 2 months to change your patterns. So maybe for now, consumers are okay. We'll continue to check in to see if that changes because of the high price of energy.
Yeah, this V-shape.
All right, so let's go ahead and see if there's any major posts from any governmental official from this. If not, we're going to go ahead and move on because we've got a lot of shit to get through this morning. All right, so real quick, we do have to bring our attention briefly, it's quick, over nationally. We're going to discuss a little bit about Michigan. River flooding prompts evacuations in Michigan. The amount of downpour as well as the snow melt is unbearable for them right now. So let's go ahead and bring this up. It's also not just Michigan. It's also Wisconsin. Both governors have put both states in states of emergency at the moment. So yes, Josh Phillips, I got you, cuz. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this up and we'll go ahead and quickly discuss it. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
I'm your host, Mike Patience. We continue to bring you some of the latest top stories and headlines from all over the country. Next up, we want to talk about really the devastating flooding out of Michigan. This was a multi-day flood event there that took place in the state where officials have warned of dam failures as rivers, creeks, and lakes continue to rise across the Great Lakes. Let's go out.
That's great news, by the way, Pablo. He says, shit, it just went down to $81 a barrel. That's phenomenal news. That shit needs to keep coming down.
Now live to Michigan, and that is where we find Fox Weather's Katie Byrne joining us here with the updates. Katie.
Damn, Papa, that sucks. Oh, wow, look at her.
Well, as you can see, we still have a lot of water here. I'm standing in what would be, I think, a driveway and a front yard area of some of these homes that you see that are right along the water. But I've spoken with some homeowners here who say that typically the water is 50-plus yards away, but it's overrun the edges of the river. So we have a lake here that's kind of overflown into some of the homes. We have dozens of homes that are unfortunately underwater and actually have been for days. Some of the homeowners say that this water started 3 days ago, and if anything, it's only come up higher. It hasn't gone down at all. Just in the last hour and a half or so, we had Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer here speaking at an emergency news briefing with local leaders, talking a little bit about the situation. What you're looking at here is a lake that feeds into the Sheboygan River, and over there's a dam that crews have been working around the clock to try to keep from failing. It's been something that's been an issue for the last few days. It's gotten close, but it has not failed just yet. Still, those officials have been working through the night to try to keep that from happening. And the governor mentioned that we've been in a number of disasters in Michigan lately when it comes to the ice storm, and then just a month ago, a blizzard that impacted a lot of the state. And you can actually see the evidence of what's happening.
Man, there's no love with weather, huh?
Here, it's a combination of recent rain and snowmelt from an above average winter season. We have piles of snow still floating around in the water. It's kind of wild to see this when you have that combination.
What you mean, Easy Frank? Yeah, we're going to be doing our 4th of July get-together for the IWF here at my property right here. So, yeah, we're making it an annual thing. We're going to make sure that we do that every year. So, absolutely.
Has led to some major flooding, not only playing out here in Sheboygan County, but places all across the northern part of the state. We're staying on top of it, Mike, but, of course, homeowners are... It's upsetting. A lot of these homes are seasonal properties, but I have met some.
I would assume, Charles, probably because they're cheaper, if I had to guess.
Some year-round residents who are trying to figure out those next steps, flood insurance, how that future will look for them.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be so stressful for those homeowners, especially for the ones, like you said, that are not in town right now and seeing everything that's happening and not really knowing what's happening to their property.
Yeah. And, it's been hard to kind of get around because of the closures on a lot of the roads. So this is the first time we've been able to see just how widespread the damage is and how many homes are still underwater. This is along Black Lake, but there are a number of lakes that feed into that Sheboygan.
I'm thinking damn, like the car or the van that she came in is probably back behind this cameraman, and they're both standing in water. Like how far away did you have to drive? I mean, how long did you have to drive in that kind of level of water before you got to this location?
In River, where we're seeing all of that water kind of overwhelm the dam system. But then you still have all of this water spilling out into communities too. So there's a few different things happening. That's why it's got officials' attention trying to stay on top of this and, make sure if they need to send out an evacuation order, they can do that. But for right now in the county, we don't have any of those evacuation orders. Still, people are being told to have a go bag just in case.
What? They're just saying, just have a go bag. All right. So let's go ahead and move on, though. We're going to move on into current this morning. So 3 hours ago, it says Trump says Israel-Lebanon leaders could meet at the White House. President Donald Trump on Thursday told reporters, as you guys know, we reported on this a little bit, Israel and Lebanon could meet at the White House after announcing a 10-day ceasefire between the two countries. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it. Also, I think all countries involved need to embrace their fuck-ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. All right, let's go ahead and get into this story here.
We have this X-post here from Fox News. This says, breaking, President Trump says he will not meet with Pope Leo amid their feud over the war in Iran.
This is what I was talking about at the top of the hour when we opened up and we were discussing about Pope Leo. This is what I was referring to. So let me go ahead and back it up so you guys can hear it.
Says, breaking, President Trump says he will not meet with Pope Leo amid their feud over the war in Iran. Trump, quote, it's very important that the Pope understands Iran killed 42,000 people that were totally unarmed. There were protesters. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Reporter
real quick, we got Motobomb Virginia. Good morning to you, kind sir. Happy Friday.
Says, would you meet with the Pope to even out your differences? Trump says, I don't think it's necessary. So we're continuing to monitor that, as well as the latest developments over in the Middle East, as a 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel has been announced, according to President Trump. And want to bring in this next post here now, coming from the president. Going to bring this on your screen here. This says is about that ceasefire.
Papa, usually that's because if we're talking about weather or anything like that, if we're talking about politics and governmental officials, people got to let their opinions be said. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably why, if I had to
Calling
assume.
it, quote, may have been a historic day for Lebanon. Good things are happening. President Donald J. Trump. And to talk more about this, we want to bring in our next guest, Ahmad Sharawi, with a Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much for coming on today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to start here with the 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel.
Absolutely, Jack, and I support this, by the way. I hope that it eventually does happen for you. Absolutely.
What do you think that this is a sign going forward with the conflict in the Middle East? Are we on the right track here with a permanent agreement in the future?
A permanent agreement? That's a fucking stretch. I don't think we're looking at any type of permanent anything for a long time.
So when the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran went in effect, the Iranians demanded that Lebanon should be included. The goal of that was to ensure the survival of Iran's proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon, and to ensure that the Israelis will not continue their advance and military operations against the Lebanese group. What we saw yesterday was a product of a meeting the first direct meeting between a Lebanese official and an Israeli official in a few decades. The Lebanese ambassador,
it was like the first time in like 30 some odd years, like 32 years or something.
To the U.S. met with the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. along with the Secretary of State Marco Rubio to discuss a broader, comprehensive, some sort of way of ceasing the hostilities in Lebanon. And it seems like President Trump told the Israelis that there will be a ceasefire that went in effect yesterday in order to give a chance for broader negotiations over issues like security and peace. The time frame is 10 days. I'm reluctant to think, or I'm not that confident that they will reach a comprehensive agreement in 10 days. I think it's the time frame is very short and limited given the multiple issues that they have. But we'll keep tracking and see what progress there is.
No, you can always quote unquote kill people, but you can never kill the ideology. And that's the hard part.
Earlier discussions this week that were moderated by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, they were seen as or described as positive and productive. Now, a Lebanese official told Fox News that the Lebanese president would not speak to Israeli Prime Minister until a ceasefire has been established. And since we have a ceasefire established, what could we possibly get from a conversation between these two leaders here?
It appears that President Trump really wants the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun to speak with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. I think this aligns with Trump's approach to the Middle East over since he assumed presidency, and that is getting maximum deals when it comes to these issues. The question here is, will the Lebanese ignore the domestic voices that are calling for or that are calling against that? And here I talk specifically about Hezbollah. I think the upcoming days, if we see Joseph Aoun...
Man, I mean, Israel has really fucked up Beirut in particular, but yes, Lebanon, this is what we're looking at, by the way.
Speak with Benjamin Netanyahu. That means that the Lebanese state will be willing or might be signaling to Hezbollah that, I mean, maybe not disarmament, but maybe signaling that Hezbollah does not have a say anymore. But if we remain to see, or if we keep seeing the stalling tactics that the Lebanese have employed since the first ceasefire in November 2024, then it will be unlikely that this ceasefire will result in anything meaningful.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and leave it there. Let's go ahead and see if there's any other. It says, we just made a deal with Lebanon. We have a ceasefire with Israel and Lebanon. They'll probably come to the White House over the next 4 to 5 days. The first time they've met in 44 years. So in particular, wow, 44 years. That's pretty fucking incredible, I got to admit. All right, let's go ahead and move on. That came out from the Department of State, by the way. We're going to move on into humanitarian need in Lebanon amid ceasefire. Now, this came out 3 hours ago as well. Also, you got to remember that southern Lebanon has been evacuated. There's been an evacuation, basically displacement of I think it's like 1.2 million people. 1.2 million people have been displaced during this war, and they've gone into central Lebanon up to northern parts of Lebanon to escape this. So there's a lot of people displaced right now. So anyways, here we go. Let's go and discuss
and welcome back
briefly.
To Live Now from Fox. My name is Bone Kadrovich, and we are continuing to...
Every time this guy comes on, I got to ask a question.
Why are you gay?
Just asking.
Cover the latest in the Middle East as that conflict between Israel and Hezbollah over in Lebanon continues to unravel. But now there is a 10-day ceasefire deal agreement there, according to President Trump. But there is still a lot to talk about there, especially when we talk about the humanitarian aid in need in those areas with the civilians that are affected by this conflict. And this is where we want to bring in our first guest, Arlen Fuller, who is the Director of Emergency Preparedness and Response with Project Hope. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So this is our representative from Project Hope, by the way.
And so I just wanted to start with, as these conflicts unravel in the Middle East, what are you seeing with humanitarian aid and what is needed the most?
Well, certainly, I think since Project Hope is a global health organization, we're looking at the crisis through a humanitarian medical lens. And seeing that the offensive has been going on now for about a month and a half, the needs of the civilian populations are quite significant, especially as it relates to the displaced population in Lebanon. There's about 1.2 million people that have been displaced from the south and have moved up to.
So yes, I was right. I was somewhat guessing there. I couldn't remember off the top of my head if it was 1.1 or 1.2 million that's being reported, but 1.2 million.
The central and northern Lebanon, and it's put an enormous amount of stress on that health system. In addition, there's been airstrikes that have hit many of the health facilities in and around the Beirut and central Lebanon area. So not only do you have medical centers that are not capable of treating the increased population, but you do have this now robust, larger population that's seeking need in areas that really weren't built to be able to treat a population of that size. And then you add on to that just the limits on the number of goods that are going in and out of Lebanon, and the increasing needs for many of these medical supplies because of the conflict. You're now actually seeing a lot of the health centers that still are in operation that are actually now dealing with a lot of shortages on some of their supplies. And then within the population,
I can only imagine. I mean, there's during a displacement like this, they're living in like fucking, makeshift little tents and shit and centers and stuff. It's terrible.
Themselves.
On a humanitarian level, it's crazy.
If they've had to leave their homes, they've left medical supplies back at their homes, and
of course
are now on the run, either in shelters or living in makeshift facilities. They don't have these
what
medicines that they have for their chronic diseases. So seeking out these medicines again, either they're not finding access to that, or those those prices on the market are now sky high, 3-4 times what they normally would pay before this conflict began.
And when you talk about trying to...
Yeah, there's going to be price gouging in anything. So exactly what he said, the price of those medical supplies or any of those supplies has gone up 3 or 4 times since before the start of the war. All right. So at least you guys know this is happening. Here's Pope Leo doing his thing over there. He's doing a tour in Africa, by the way. Says Pope Leo celebrates Holy Mass at Japoma Stadium in Douala, Cameroon. I don't know if I said that correct. I'm illiterate as fuck, so I mean it is what it is.
Stupid.
Anyways, let's go ahead and scroll a little bit around. What's happening over there in Africa? Life is amazing. We're scrolling through, seeing if we get any other updates or any other type of governmental official updates. We do have something here. Nope, we already reported that. May have been a historic day for Lebanon. Good things are happening. Tweeted from the Trump. Tweeted by the president. I mean, I meant to say the president, not the Trump. Anyways, we're scrolling through, seeing anything else. Nope. Okay, so now we're going into just a little bit right before the show. These 2 stories had just come out. So Iran foreign minister, Strait of Hormuz passage open for vessels. As you guys know, that just happened this morning. So we also showed you guys as well as the traffic that's currently happening. This is live right now, and there is 0 movement happening right now, just so you guys know. We don't see any movement. What we would normally see is traffic like this. This is the strait over in by Yemen, where the Houthi rebels run the shit. And this is what, if the strait was open right now, this is what it would look like. But it is not open currently. So the ship owners are probably avoiding risking, being the first to pass, or risking to hit a mine that, because there's even been, from Iran's standpoint, they're like, there's some that we can't even find. We can't find all of them. That's just the way it is. Anyways, I'm sure that they've got to go through with minesweepers and all that shit. And then got to also look for the electric/diesel little submarines they've got that are remote controlled. They've got them down there as well. Anyways, oops, didn't mean to share that again. All right, here, we're going right back into this story here. Strait of Hormuz passage opens for vessels. So officially it came out from the foreign minister of Iran. And but I'm sure the ship owners are just playing it kind of safe right now until they probably get insured again and a whole bunch of stuff.
Interrupting that for some breaking news. We're hearing from Iran's foreign minister just sharing this to social media, saying in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire on the coordinated route. This is just coming in here from the Iranian foreign minister to the social media platform X. Of course, as we've been saying here, all of this coming as these talks are ongoing here today with several countries.
Real quick, Steve Easy says, Mike, what's for lunch today, cuh? I need an idea. I'm sick of the same old shit. Believe it or not, I plan on going to the store today. So I'm going to run to the store and grab a couple of groceries. And one of those things I always grab is a pack of hot dogs. Beef Franks, by the way. And yeah, that's what I'm going to have for lunch today is I'm going to shop a little bit and grab that shit and then make a couple of hot dogs, have some chips. I know it is what it is, but that's bachelor life right there.
Led by Emmanuel Macron as well as Keir Starmer. So the leaders of France and the UK gathering dozens of countries, but not the U.S. today, to push forward plans to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And that Paris meeting is part of attempts by nations to ease the impact of this conflict. After the war started on February 28th, Iran effectively shut the narrow strait through which a fifth of the world's oil usually passes. The U.S. is not part of the planning for what has been branded the Strait of Hormuz Maritime Freedom of Navigation Initiative.
Absolutely, by the way, train wreck. Absolutely. Welcome in, by the way. And Charles says hot dogs. Yeah, I know you're an Aussie, so I know that already is like, yeah, you're like, man, that sucks. And Steve Easy says, damn, you cooking? It's a Jesus miracle. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I do a little bit more cooking than motherfuckers think I do, a little bit.
In a post that we saw just yesterday ahead of the conference here today, French President Emmanuel Macron said the mission to provide security for shipping through the strait would be strictly defensive, limited to non-belligerent countries, and deployed when security conditions allow. Putting this back up on your screen here as we continue to follow this breaking news, but a little bit more about that meeting here today. Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer have spearheaded international efforts to increase diplomatic and economic pressure on Iran, which Starmer has accused of, quote, holding the world's economy to ransom. This comes after President Trump's announcement of a retaliatory American blockade of Iranian ports. Macron's office said participants will contribute each according to its capabilities, stressing options to ensure safe passage through the strait will depend on the security situation after a lasting ceasefire.
So they're talking about basically the leaders of France and the UK. That's what they're talking about. What she's specifically talking about right there.
So we saw a little bit earlier on that meeting is currently underway. We didn't get any comments inside. However, we are seeing on our end here that there will be.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, Steve Easy. Yeah, listen, those are cool and all, but I don't need that. Beef hot dogs is what I like,
Some comments from leaders around 10 a.m. Eastern time, but of course, as those meetings going on here, we are getting this in once again from the Iranian foreign minister saying the passage for commercial vessels is now open in the Strait of Hormuz. And here is that simulation once again. This is courtesy of marine traffic of the Strait of Hormuz as of right now. This just coming into our newsroom here, so we're working.
And I'm surprised that she was like, and we don't see any movement.
To see if we can get any more information or context to this post. What we're going to do is step away for a commercial break.
Nope, not us. We're going into our last story here. This just came out right before we started the show, by the way. Trump slams NATO after Strait of Hormuz reopens. Well, we knew that was going to happen. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and bring this up.
So we do have another post here from President Trump.
Oh, it's very, very quick. So while we play this, I'm going to look for somebody to raid. And yeah, anyways,
on Truth Social, speaking on the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, he says this: now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. I told them to stay away unless they just want to load up their ships with oil. They were useless when needed, a paper tiger, President Donald J. Trump. So that just coming in here from the president as we're sharing this news. Now, we also have heard from him a few more times on Truth Social here today. He started off by saying Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all sea mines. That also coming out from the president.
See, that's exactly what I was telling you guys earlier, is there are a lot of mines. Well, there were a lot of mines, and then on top of that, there are some mines that are they've kind of lost. They've got to find them, so they've got to scan the whole area.
Actually, just about 2 minutes ago. So my apologies. He shared that about 2 minutes ago, but he has been posting about this since early morning. Now, also this post, as he says, thank you to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar for your great bravery and help. President Donald J. Trump. So a lot of posts here on social media from the president. And once again, here is a live look at how the stock market is reacting to this news here today. All right, so we'll keep that up on a screen for you.
Yeah, but Charles, you're talking about pork. That's a whole different type of dog, homie. You know what I mean? Beef dogs are made a little bit differently.
But let's head back out to Washington, D.C., where we were listening to this live event here, and that is HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as he's testifying. Let's listen in.
JFK.
80% of American lives.
JFK, RFK.
3 months
Jr.
in my office, and I got them all agreed to end prior.
Oh, shit. Why did they cut it off like that? Man, come on. I wanted to hear a little bit of that. I was not expecting it to be cut off so fucking quick. I wanted to hear a little bit of that, but oh well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be raiding our buddy Chatting with Stacks. He's live right now. Make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. And listen, we're not going to be discussing any of this kind of crazy shit, during members only tomorrow. As you guys know, that are already members, you guys already know and have watched members only, has nothing to do with any of this shit. We have a great time. We love to laugh, have a point fun, whatever the case is. Good times. That's what we're looking for. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys all enjoy the rest of your Friday. Be blessed and have a wonderful weekend. I can't thank you guys enough for also the support that you guys have shown me, and also the amount of likes. Yesterday, you guys killed it. Today, I'm not sure exactly, but it didn't look like you guys were killing it. So anyways, we're going to try our best to do better, right? All right, much love, honor, respect to you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow morning, you guys aren't members, we'll see you guys on Monday morning for more of the world's madness. God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.
Thank you, Brother Provo. Let's go.
God